doctor today to get my annual checkup. And then the doctor says, are you hurting anywhere? And I thought about it. And I said to myself, in relationships, what happens to people? And so the doctor really gave me the prescription to get healed. Now, I've been knowing this for quite some time about we need to get our healing. But she said, the first thing, she says, and so I'm going to do a 2-part series on getting your healing. Right before our class, Milani, Shani, and I are doing a class to help people accelerate your results in terms of, attracting the person of their dreams, finding a new way to love themselves and others. But the problem is they are still hurting. They're not healed from the last part. And so the doctor says to me, many times people could get healed. They could get healed, but they wait too late. She says they wait too late. And so let me give you the formula for your emotional healing. You've been in a bad relationship. You've been in a relationship that, hasn't worked, or you're still carrying around the effects of it. So the first thing I'm going to tell you, and y'all, we're going to be short today, but I want to give this to you, as I said, as a prelude to the class we're doing. The first thing is you got to decide to call the doctor. You got to decide to seek help. So when you pick up the phone or when you go to the emergency room, when you pick up the phone and you set the appointment, the first thing you're doing is acknowledging that I'm not healed. Acknowledging something is wrong. You're acknowledging that I don't feel right, be it emotionally or mentally. I'm not feeling good. Okay. And see, a lot of us say, well, it'll go away. It'll go away. I'm feeling all right. It'll go away. But yet what it does is you learn to live with the pain. And y'all, and the truth of the matter is you learn to live with the pain. The first thing you got to do if you ever want to get healed is you got to go to the doctor. Be willing to pick up the phone. You got to be willing to pick up, to call somebody like me, a relationship coach, or Milani, a coach who's a relationship coach who focuses on healing people. The first thing you got to be willing to do is pick up the phone, make the appointment. You got to reach out because nobody knows you're sick but you. Nobody knows something's not right but you. Somebody knows that inside your mental and your emotional state that you're suffering. Nobody knows that but you. So you are responsible for your healing. And I've said this many times before. You're not responsible for your pain, but you are responsible for your healing. And that's the first step. Okay. And the second step is when you get there is you get diagnosed. See, when you go to the doctor, you have to be willing to go through all of the diagnosis, the assessment, get your blood pressure, get everything that they have to do. Make sure that you go through every part of the process to get diagnosed to see what's wrong. So some of us are dealing with stuff that happened in our relationship, that happened when we was a kid, that happened when everything wasn't good. All of these things. You're dealing with all of that, but yet you've never been diagnosed of what's going on. So imagine you go to the doctor and the doctor said, they look at you and say, you're good. And the doctor didn't do anything to create a diagnosis to let them know you're healed, to let them know your problem. Y'all, if you're not willing to go to a coach, you're not willing to go to somebody like myself, like Milani, somebody, a therapist, somebody who can diagnose what's going on the inside. Diagnose that many of your problems happened when you were a child and Uncle Jimmy molested you. That your problem stemmed for your mother allowed Uncle Jimmy to touch you and she didn't take up for you. Now you don't trust anybody. And so if you don't understand and deal with the diagnosis, if you don't get a diagnosis, how can you ever heal? You can't. You can't. And so I tell people, listen, call. First thing is call. Mental health and emotional health is important. Call. Make the appointment. Inbox me. Let's have a session. Let's sit down and talk about it. And then let me help you get the diagnosis of what's wrong. And then the last thing is when the doctor gives you the prescription. When they give you a prescription, they give you the prescription because the prescription is going to aid in your healing. It's going to help in your healing, the healing process. When I give you a prescription, when I tell you things to do, there are people who've been on my lives for this is my 99th episode. There are people who I've coached thus far who have done the work. Some of the ones who have not. But the truth of the matter is, if you're not willing to get the diagnosis, and then use the prescription. So when we give you a prescription, tell you here's what you should be doing, then you need to be doing it. You need to be doing it. When Milani says, hey, do this. Ken says, hey, do this. What we're doing, we've given you the prescription. That prescription is for your healing. If you aren't willing to take the prescription, if you ain't willing to take the prescription, how can you expect to get healed? If you got an infection and you don't take the antibiotic, what's going to happen? The infection going to run rampant through your body. Then your bloodstream going to get septic, and then you're going to die. That's the truth of the matter. You might not die a physical death, but here's the thing. You got to be willing to take the prescription. If the prescription means that you've got to go through our process, write up what you have to do, identify, self-reflect, self-acceptance, all of the things we do. If you're not willing to take the prescription, you can't get healed. And that's the truth of it. So listen, I'm going to leave you with this. And I'm not saying I'm going to be on here long, but I'm going to leave you with this. Listen, for those of you who want to get healed from past relationships, those of you who want to get healed from past thoughts, past beliefs, and limiting beliefs that are keeping you from attracting the person of your limiting you from getting the relationship that you want. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to inbox me. Let's have a session. So here's what I'm going to do. I normally charge $225 for a discovery session. What I'm going to do is, if you want to inbox me, I'm willing to have a part of a discovery. Normally a discovery session is 90 minutes. I'm willing to have an abbreviated discovery session with you just so we can talk through what your prescription is. I'm willing to do that. All you got to do is inbox me. Free of charge. Now, y'all, I charge $300 an hour. If you don't want it, don't take it. I don't care. It's up to you. But if you're willing, if you want to get healed and you want to, inbox me. And let's have a discovery session. Let's talk about it. And then I am going to give you the prescription of where you should go. Where you should go. What you should be doing right now. And no better time than now. Stop waiting for tomorrow. Like, you know how people say, someday I'll. I always say, someday I'll never comes. Someday Island is a place way off that nobody knows about. Someday I'll doesn't exist. It's all about what you do today. What you do today. All right, y'all? That's my time. I wasn't going to stay on long. I had to go. I got to go. Look, if you want a discovery session, inbox me. I'm Ken Canyon, the host of Love, Lust, and Lies, and I'm out.